Justin Hogg here from Right Source, talking all things not-for-profits on purpose. So we talk about purpose a lot when running a not-for-profit and in the charity space, and what I wanted to talk today is how that really defines a not-for-profit and how it works in a not-for-profit. Like, we talk about purpose a lot, and that is really what drives a not-for-profit, but how does it drive a not-for-profit? What are we talking about here? So let's go through that. So the first step in a not-for-profit is when you set it up. And when you set it up, that's when you're really super transparently clear on purpose, because that's why you're setting it up. In that setup process is where you'll do things to encapsulate that purpose within the DNA of the not-for-profit. So it's things like the Constitution. The Constitution will have a requirement to have a part of it where you actually write down what the purpose of the not-for-profit is. So this is the point in time where you go, this is the reason why I'm setting up this entity. You set up the entity and you start it. You also set up other things like policies and processes and the structure, and that will all feed from achieving the purpose. It'll be very much, that's the starting to see the growth of the organization germinate from that seed, is that it's all directed at the purpose because it's really super clear at that point in time. What becomes then as your journey of the not-for-profit happens, and as you learn, whenever you start a business, there's a learning process that happens a lot at the start, but also continually through that journey. So you'll find that as you start achieving your purpose, you may find that there's other things that pop up. They go, well, that looks interesting, or maybe we could do that. So the other then discipline or important aspect of a not-for-profit is to stay on purpose. And this is even, the ACNC talks about, doing a review of your constitution once a year is good governance. And that's sort of what it's about. It's like every so often taking a moment to go, well, hold on a second. Why did we set this thing up in the first place? And are we still moving in that same direction? This applies to all businesses, not just not-for-profits, but not-for-profits specifically. You want to make sure that you are staying on purpose, because that, I suppose, is why you set up, and that's what the entity is there for. So having that review of where you're going is important, because you do want to stay on purpose. At the same time, that review process may be needed because as you've grown your not-for-profit, you've then seen other areas you can get into that might complement your purpose. So for example, maybe you got into research on a specific thing, have become more adept, and you've created that body of knowledge. You then see ways that you can advocate, or you can provide support for those that are affected by the area that you're researching. And that then becomes, well, we have the ability and the capability to do that, maybe we should do that. Sometimes it's geography. Sometimes you set up your not-for-profit to work in a specific area or a specific state. And now that you're doing that well, you want to expand that purpose. So then again, maybe it's a time to review. So there's nothing wrong with reviewing your purpose, and if that purpose becomes much bigger, or you see that it's evolved into something else, you might need to go back and review your founding documents in terms of your constitution, your policies, and go, well, okay, no, we actually want to change our purpose. And there's a process for doing that. Obviously, it's not super simple, because the whole point of setting up the not-for-profit is you want it to be on purpose. But there is a process to do it, because things change and evolve over time. So there is a process where you can change your purpose. It's just something you want to do with a good amount of rigor and thought behind it, because there can definitely be implications in terms of how you're perceived. And obviously you don't want to be changing your purpose all the time, because then that just makes it hard for people to understand what it is you're doing. You want to have that consistency. And then the end of a not-for-profit's life cycle potentially is ending. So you want to end on purpose as well. And ultimately, where we're setting a not-for-profit for a purpose, if that purpose is achieved, well, then it's time to end. And that's something that should be contemplated right at the beginning of the charity, is that you always start with the end in mind. And so you want to see a future where your not-for-profit's no longer needed, because, or that charity or that gap in society is no longer needed, because it's all been taken care of and it's all done. You've achieved your goal. So there's a process for ending your charity, and that'll be covered in your constitution. So again, if you're getting towards that end, make sure that you go through that process, because you want to end things well at the same time, and hopefully as well as you started. And if you've achieved your goal, well, that's awesome. So you want to, say goodbye in the best possible way. Sometimes you end a not-for-profit because you run out of money, or because you no longer have the capability to do the purpose that you want anymore. Again, there's no reason why you can't end that gracefully. And again, there's definitely ways in terms of merging with other not-for-profits or being assumed by another not-for-profit. And if you're aware of that process, you can hopefully find someone that is well aligned to the purpose that you initially started, so that even though your not-for-profit might end, hopefully the purpose continues. And that's, I suppose, the part that sometimes the end is just a new beginning, and you want to be working through that. But again, and with everything that you do in your not-for-profit, it's always on purpose. So that's a really quick video today in terms of purpose, starting on purpose, staying on purpose, reviewing your purpose, and ending on purpose. Because with everything in not-for-profits, it's on purpose. Thanks for watching today. If you like any other videos on not-for-profit space, definitely check them out. I've got a fair few on YouTube, plus some others in terms of running business generally, and also on the finance aspects of business. Any questions, chuck in the comments below. Check me out on LinkedIn. Happy to answer any questions you might have. Subscribe, there's lots of videos to come. There's a never-ending topic on how, hopefully, we can provide information that helps your not-for-profit run and continue to run on purpose. Until next time, thanks for watching. It's Justin Hogg from RightSource.